Hello everyone. I have a quick update for the exporting Vectorworks 2017 to Martin ShowDesigner Pro. After the last video, Paul has suggested that I send that video to Lighthouse Support, and they got back with me in typical Martin fashion pretty darn quickly with some updates and some information. So I think I should share those with you. If you'll remember in the last video, we were having some patch issues. Those have been addressed, and it looks like they may even make some changes to help with that workflow. So let's go ahead and open up Vectorworks, and I will show you the correct information, how to get the patch from Vectorworks over to ShowDesigner with as little headache as possible. And once it opens up, we'll begin. We'll start that file. We'll start from the beginning as we did before. We're going to open up a working file, which is this one here from Lone Star Flight Museum. Now, there will have to be some sweeping changes, and I do not like to make huge changes to my original file. So in a case like this, I'm going to create a new copy of this file to begin with. So what we'll do is go File, Save a Copy As, and what that's going to do is start a brand new file. And what I'm doing here is we're going to just change the date to today's date and specify that this is for Martin ShowDesigner. And I've done this before, so we're going to get this message. It's going to come up. Now, it's done, but you'll notice here that we're still in the same original file. So what we'll need to do is we'll close this file and then open the file that we just created. It will come up, and I will explain the way these two programs interact. So, first of all, let's take this BMFL right here. It's a great example. The way I typically work in Vectorworks is I'll put my unit number and my channel number as the same information, and then I have my address as my DMX offset, and then my universe, and then circuit information, so on and so forth. So ShowDesigner uses unit number for fixture ID, channel number is your DMX offset, and universe is universe in Martin ShowDesigner. And so we need to do some modifications here. Obviously, I need that address to be the same as channel so that the information goes across correctly. Another thing that we're going to try here is we're going to change our user origin. Now, it would be great if this would I'll tell you what, let's put the user origin right here. So now that's 0, 0 is right there. Typically you put it on the downstage edge, but for these purposes, I'm making this 0. Okay. So looking at this BMFL, if we were to try and just go in fixture by fixture, it would take forever. Additionally, using under the spotlight menu, using number instruments would take forever as well, and it would open up the possibility for mistakes to happen, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So I found the best solution for this is to use the Find and Modify menu. And how this works is I can find a group of instruments and make changes to them very quickly. So we're going to start off with our moving lights, which are going to be fixtures such as the BMFLs, the auras, the points, any kind of moving head fixture. So moving light, instrument type, and then we're going to start with the Roby point. And then under the options of what we're going to do once it's found them, we're going to go copy the. And so what we want to do is copy the address field to the channel field. Very easy, very quick. You'll see here that I have 12 objects that will be affected by this. I simply hit OK, and you'll see now that the points are highlighted. I'm going to confirm that it did in fact work, and yes, it did. The address and the channel are the same. So we're going to continue doing this. I'll do a couple more, and then we will pause the video, and when you get back, we'll be ready to export the file. Instrument type, I tell you what, since we have a couple of different instrument types here, we're going to find all light, and we're going to choose instrument type, and our source fours, our LECOs are correct because they're a one-to-one, and the address and the fixture ID are the same. So we'll try these quad zooms, copy the, and it has remembered what I want to do, which is the address to the channel. We have 32 of these objects. I'll hit OK. And there you go. And then the next group of fixtures will be my fiber source here. And if you look under device type, they're classified as a special effects. And so when I go into Spotlight and find and modify, I'll come under Find All, SFX, Instrument Type, Fiber Source, there's only one type of fixture, and then it's going to copy the address to the channel again. So there we go, and that is done. So I'm going to continue doing this, and when we get back, we'll be ready to export. Okay, we're done. So that took probably about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. Much quicker than going fixture by fixture or even using the number instruments tool here. So we are now going to export via the plugin to export MSD, and we will create a new file, which I've done already, but we'll do it again. Remember where you remember your location, yes, and now it is exporting everything, and when we come back, we will begin the import into Martin ShowDesigner. All right, we are back. The export is complete. Once again, it did not take very long. It took about 5 minutes. And so let's save what we did right here, close Vectorworks, and then we will get into Martin ShowDesigner and confirm that the changes that we made did in fact take and did translate over to Martin ShowDesigner. So here we go. I had a couple of people ask me what system I use, so while we're loading this up, I thought I'd tell you. I have a system that I created myself. It has an i7 Extreme processor and use a GTX 1080 video card. I'm using a 500 gig solid state hard drive and I think 32 gigs of RAM. So here we are in our fixture mapping, and if everything worked just right, so real quick, you'll notice here that this first line, Chauvet Colorado 1 quad zoom, we're actually using the Colorado Solo, and I don't really change this in Vectorworks anymore because my guys know that we don't carry this fixture. We have the Solo, but you can modify that in Vectorworks. And here we go. It has done exactly what it should have done. It has the fixture ID is correct and addressing is correct. You'll see here, and then let's just look at one more, like the Macora. There's a lot of those, and look at that. That is just fantastic. So again, the Roby Psych Effects will not come over as a Psych Effects because ShowDesigner sees that as a fixture block or treats it as a fixture block, so it's going to import it as a spider. Don't worry, we're going to delete that, and then you can just put the psych effects in manually as a fixture block. And that looks like it. Everything else is absolutely correct. And we're going to hit continue. And this shouldn't take but a couple of minutes. When we get back, we will confirm that the scene looks right. And I think that'll be it. Okay, so we're back. Real quick, I'm going to tell you that I made a mistake on when I was setting up this drawing for export into ShowDesigner. What ShowDesigner is looking for is the drawing's origin, not the user origin. So just keep that in mind when you go to export, is that you want your, wherever you want your center of your drawing to be in ShowDesigner, that's where you need to put your user, or excuse me, drawing origin in Vectorworks. So here we are. We have imported everything, and let's get to a zoom extents, and I'll do a front view. That's a top, and let's go to front and zoom extents again. Okay, so here we are. Everything has been imported. Let's turn on a couple of layers. Turn on video, turn on stage. Don't need motors, and we'll turn on audio. Okay. So this is our rig. This is the way it looked, and it's done a pretty good job. You'll notice that I have a piece of an object here that was not given any Z space or Z information in Vectorworks. Real easy to fix. We're just going to grab it. We're going to move it on Y. This is my projector I used for mapping that upstage sign that was in the drawing or in the show. So this is just a little projector. Let's go to a top view, make sure that it is where it needs to be, and it is exactly where it needs to be. Go back to a front view, and let's take this to 3D. Now here's a little trick that Christopher Bolton taught me, and it works really, really well. So we're going to put, instead of using these tools here for your positioning, we're going to do it manually. So X position of the camera is at 0. Everybody likes to program at 0. Y. Camera are my eyes when I'm programming, so I'm 6 feet tall, 6 feet. My Z position, keeping in mind that in this drawing 0 is the downstage edge. I was about 60 feet or so from the downstage edge, and I was looking at about 10 feet. So imagine a person standing there, 3 plus 6 feet, 9, and then we're looking up a little bit. So we're at 10 feet. And my Z, I was looking at 0. And here's another little helpful hint. For the zoom angle, we set it at 60, because that's about what the human eye would give us. And there we go. So now we're going to just save this camera. Oops, wrong one. Save camera. I have done it already. I called it Program Stage and hit OK. And if you so chose, you could then go back a little bit in Z space, so 100 feet. And I had a dance floor package that I could program in the previs, and I could save this as make sure all of my information is correct. My focal point was still at 0 on the Z. Everything else is right. And then so I save this camera. I keep doing that. Save camera. I'm going to call this Program All and hit OK. So now I have these two positions here and here, and if this kind of sets the groundwork for previs, and then also for giving some different looks around the room if you want to do any kind of video or renderings for the client. So let's double check our addresses, make sure those are correct. And we're going to go to select that BMFL there. It should be, if I remember correctly, it should be number 152. It is, and it has an address of 370, which is absolutely correct. And that looks like it. I think we've got everything here. It has come across beautifully. Let's go ahead and just real quick get rid of these spiders. There, we're going to group them and delete. And then when you go to add the psych effects back in, under library context, contents fixture, maybe it's already here. Roby, nope. We're going to look up, go to Roby. Roby. All right, you see them. This is Flex. Robin, Psych Effects, and we are Psych Effects 4. And you'll see here that it has indicates that it is a block, and then you would just drop them in whatever mode you had, and there you have it. You'll have to obviously readdress these. It's just the way it is, and but you know, in general, this has just worked perfectly, beautifully, exactly the way it should have. So if you have any questions, just feel free to pop them in the comments below. Of course, please take the time to go and like my lighting design page on Facebook, Kevin Friedel Designs, or facebook.com/LD Kevin Friedel. Again, thank you and have a great day.